Good morning, everybody. Welcome to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm your host. I have Councilor and Councilor-elect Erik Gitschier and former Councilor Marty Lorrey with me this morning. Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Well done.
It was a long campaign season. I'm glad it's over.
I bet you are. I bet you are. So,
And I want to thank everyone who got out and voted and everyone who opened their doors and had a kind word or pushed us to do better. I think that that's the important part of when you campaign is you try to get out and see what people's thoughts are. So we try to knock on every door, whether it's a voter or not. And a lot of people say that's a waste of time, but I think you want to hear people's voice and just see where we're going.
were there any surprises on what the people were interested in when you were knocking on doors?
I think when you look at everything, the political world and the election world is flipped upside down by the federal government. If these people can't get their stuff together, it's just complete chaos. And I think it's sad that two parties are so pushed back at each other that people can't even sit down and talk for the best interest of the American people. And I don't care who thinks who's right, who's wrong. You're all wrong. It's like two little kids throwing things at each other, and the parent comes over and says, knock it off. And then one puts it down, the other one throws something back, and you start back into the fight.
Yeah.
It's really a sad state in this country where it's gotten so caustic.
Oh, unbelievable. I can't even wrap my head around it because having been involved all the years and never hated anyone I was opposing. It just...
I think it starts at the top. He's
Absolutely.
the president. He needs to shut his mouth sometimes and just do a job. If you think you're doing something right, do your job.
Yeah.
And I don't know what people think, but just do your job. And I think we're switching over from traditional politics to social media politics. So I think when you look at the president's end, he's running a social media campaign every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets old, it gets exhausting on people, and I think people are tired of both sides whining and everything. Just let's try to do something right for the American people. And you hear it at the door, every other door you knock on. People are just bitter.
Yeah.
Whether you're on one side or the other. It's a very bitter time to go to doors. It's tough to get to doors because they have no soliciting signs on doors, and they don't want to talk to people anymore.
Coming in this morning, I know that people get their signs down, but driving in, it was as if there was never an election in Lowell.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable this morning.
The wind. No one picked them up that quick.
Yeah.
It's the wind.
It's
The wind yesterday was very, very tough.
Oh, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah.
I'll tell you at the deal, it was freezing. I don't ever remember. And I've been in snow. It wasn't as cold as that wind was yesterday. It was brutal. So.
Where were you standing on it?
The Daily.
I got to get Marty back to
Eric, where
work.
were you standing?
Huh?
I was at the Riley.
Eric,
I was at the Riley.
You stand, Marty?
No. I voted it last Thursday. So, no, I haven't worked the poll, and even when I was running, I would hold the sign till about 8:30 and 9, then I'd go out and knock doors. And then you come back at 4 o'clock, it's dark now.
Yeah.
Why bother?
Yeah, I think the election results were what probably most people expected. I think everybody predicted that Belvedere would be a very, very tight race, and I'm sure there's going to be a recount. I'm sure that people are going to push back to say, can we count it over again? When you put in that much work, you definitely deserve it over 4 votes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Years ago, they used to go down to Memorial, the auditorium, and you would look at the ballots, and each candidate would have people there to represent them. So they'd be looking at the marks on the ballot. Did they intend to mark this? Was that thing hanging? And just, now I don't know if they'll go that far, or they just rerun the ballots. But I don't think all the mail-ins are probably in yet, or the...
Well, they can't count them after the time.
If they got them yesterday, they can. They can put them...
Then they should be
probably will.
counted. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't give figures without them being counted.
Well, the figures are not given. They're unofficial.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's why they put unofficial on
But
it.
with 4 votes, I would think that they've counted.
Well, the
Oh, I
write-in
don't know.
ballots and everything, I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, well, write-ins, that's a whole different story, but
I
That's-
with technology today, I would think it holds up. But we were doing a podcast the other day, Monday, and Teddy said, who's going to win? Because Duran was backed by such a large crew. But I said, it's close. And he says, why? I says, Danny Finn's the little engine that could. And I said, they'd have these big fundraisers and raise, I don't know, $8,000. Next day, there'd be 20 more Finn signs out in Belvedere, and get all those big endorsements. Next day after that, 20 more signs for Finn out in Belvedere.
Yeah.
They just didn't stop. They were and it was good.
He worked hard.
He worked very hard.
Hello, how are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, every time any door I knocked on, he was not far behind or he was ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You saw a sign or something at one of the doors, so it was good.
he was outside the Mullis. Your Sundays you can't knock, especially if the Patriots are winning as they are now. He was outside the Mullis holding signs, and he really, really worked hard. And he's a great guy. He's
Yeah.
you meet him, you like him. Hey, Michael,
Hello.
how are you? Good to see you.
Now that Michael's here, will you please get the sidewalks for his mother?
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
I mean, we're working
Please,
on
let's
it.
get right, jump right in.
Infrastructure in any community is a planned event most times, and they've been trying to plan it, but Mrs. Dillon has pushed for the safety of the students
Yeah.
for some time, and I think that's going to be a good. There's another one on Varnum Ave. If you look between Lowell General and the corner of West Meadow, it doesn't have a sidewalk,
Right.
and people are walking in the middle of Varnum Ave, which is
Right.
so there's a few areas that it was neglected for so long, and we're paying the piper right now. We're trying to catch back up, and I was the first person that I know of, and I think that probably Marty could probably attest to, that's ever been on the council that's been an engineer.
Right.
So
I don't know, Randy.
and we play that over and over again and I think that's why we saw a lot of the road work and sidewalk work.
Yes,
We've seen a
absolutely.
lot of it. I pushed a lot of it, and Mrs. Dillon has been an amazing advocate for
Yes,
those
she
students
has.
over there.
Yes, she has. But how many schools do you have that don't have sidewalks, other than those two?
I know in 2013, I pushed for sidewalks up in Belvedere near the Colley Stadium. They're in now. I forget what the cost would be. Yeah, I forgot what the cost would be. But the mistake I made, I wasn't reelected, you put those in projects long-term, and so I put it in to have it done then. You're halfway through the year, the money's just not there. So I should have tried to push to have it on a long-term project plan, and I didn't. I didn't come back, so.
Yeah.
Where these projects have been in now for a while, and like Eric says, he's pushing the sidewalks and a lot of the infrastructure works that needs to be repaired. And, but you also had how much money did they put from the COVID money into that? They got $75 million to use, so.
Yeah, and we did fire trucks, we
Right,
did a lot of the
right.
school stuff,
It's good stuff.
open space. I think a lot of it was long-term savings, but we're going to have a hangover from the expenditures. And that's what people are going to have to make tough decisions. And I don't know that some people are geared to make tough decisions. When you start looking at elections, there's a lot of popularity in it more than function. And I don't know that people will be geared towards making those tough decisions.
Budget time's gonna be tough on this council.
Well, I mean, they made it that way.
Yeah.
You can't filter in jobs and then complain about how healthcare has raised.
Who's the they?
Well, it's the manager, right? In this council, they okayed him, so it's all of us. And when you start looking at, you're complaining about health insurance rising, and you're putting people on, and you're giving them, health insurance. What do you think?
Well,
You
Eric,
think it's going
when
down
we
or
have
up?
city councilors getting their spouses jobs at City Hall and nobody says a word,
My wife's been there for 38 years.
I'm not talking about your wife.
I don't know whose wife got a job. I don't know. But I know the analogy you're shooting for.
But somebody's
Eric was on
relative
the
gets a
garbage truck,
job.
But you got hired.
And that now they're beholden for the rest of their lives.
No question, and it goes on every day. And you look at, I took a dip in some of this voting because I voted against people that I like, but they got jobs that I was not in favor of. So that's what happens in life. Sometimes you take a shot, and sometimes you get beat up. And
I'm gonna read these three to you real
it
quick.
happens.
All the best, all the money they put into the Riley School The lighting in the parking lot is terrible. Home run, Eric, it's time for the president to act presidential like he said he couldn't do. Also, the media, especially in the state, have to grow up. Yeah, the media has to start asking questions. If you don't perform within 12 months, will you resign? I wasn't surprised when Channel 7 News did a story on the intersection of High and East Merrimack. Okay, thank
Who
you.
is Channel 7 anymore? Does anybody?
I watch Channel 7 now. Yeah, Channel 7 is great.
There's
By the
about
way, the
4
connector,
people.
anybody come inbound the connector, I'm told inbound the connector is closed today.
Oh, I didn't.
Fatal, an accident, some guy went wrong way in connector.
Oh,
So-
dear.
That
So if you
happens.
usually go on the connector at Gorham Street or Thorndike, or you're coming in that way, get off on Plain Street. Try to get on Plain Street. I'm told it's
I think you gotta
closed.
fix the angle. Marty's not in it.
That's
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get it wider.
I'm fine with that.
He didn't get up this early, so.
Wow. No, Marty's gonna be, Marty's our new co-host on Tuesdays. Wednesdays. I got Wednesday spelled wrong too, I think. Man, a heck of a day. Here we go. Thanks, Art. You got too many controls over here.
I did like the other picture better, though. Mike and I looked much, much better.
I think they're gonna resolve the budget this week. There's about 5 Democratic senators that I've been following. All they want is a date on the Obamacare vote, to extend it. That's all they're looking for, is a date. If the Republicans give them a date, I think they may solve it this week.
How do we get to this point? And to me,
And I bring that up because of healthcare, they subsidize healthcare. So in cities and private industries, it's gonna go right through the roof, and it's open season. So people are gonna
Marty, you
notice.
think about it, the richest people in this country are still being paid in government.
Yeah.
They're all still getting their checks, but, and I think once you go into government shutdown, they shouldn't get paid either,
I
They were
agree.
telling me
even though they don't need the money.
the Virginia race had tightened up. And I said, you're out of your mind. You go up to Northern Virginia, Alexandria, Arlington, those are all federal workers out of Washington. They're not going to support the Republican with this shutdown, It's, and I'm not blaming the Republican, but it just didn't look good, so.
We all know in this country, anybody who knows anything about politics, this is just politics playing
That's
out.
all it is.
And it's about pressurized from the voter itself. If we can cut you off the voter yourself, someone's going to point the finger at somebody. It's not about people.
Yeah, no.
So, Madam Host, you went to, I heard you were in the room on WCAP. The microphone hog, Gary, didn't give you any microphone, but
No.
You went to Top
I'm quite
Donut
happy
last
you
night?
didn't. I was over. I was there with Rita,
okay.
and it was, it's always. Actually, I enjoy listening to the results. It's sort of like the old days.
Jesus to Jesus did well. Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
For a first-time person who didn't put a lot of money into it, and
Yeah.
nice guy. I worked with him at the Enterprise.
Yeah, he is a great guy.
He is, and personable. I thought he did pretty well citywide.
I agree. And he's got a great personality. He's a
He
very
does.
nice
Yeah.
person. And I think that, when you start looking at government, I told my wife beforehand, I said, today might be the first day that I ever get fired publicly.
Why?
If you don't win the election, you're fired.
Oh, yeah.
And I said that to her. I said, you don't know the way people think. And during my term, I think I made some decisions that, were not politically in favor of just being politically savvy. Like when you go out and you endorse Karen Casella early against a sitting city councilor, you know that district you're never going to win. There's certain things that when you do, but I think at the end of the day, we did good.
What you're looking at is off the inside Lowell. And the city sent us some official numbers that we can go over when you're ready,
Whoops.
but it's too big to
Isn't
actually
it?
look at. So we'll come back to that when you guys are ready to talk about it. Thanks.
I thought it was a good election. I thought it was pretty clean. There wasn't a lot of fighting between the candidates, a lot of finger pointing. I'm still surprised up in the Highlands. I expected Marcos to get a lot of Vesna votes, but I didn't think it would be that close. That was a nail biter. And the question will be now, you know, let's be honest, Corey lost in Belvedere. When I did my predictions, I said Belvedere and the Acre would flip. They would target those two seats, and they did. And but I don't know, how's the city manager feel today? Dakota was a strong supporter. He sneaked by. Corey's gone. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be a tough council year. It's going to start. Well, the mayor's race, from my understanding, is now over.
It is?
Yeah, that's my understanding. Some commitments were made. I'll just leave it at that.
You're going to leave it at that? That's what you're going to say?
And but yeah, you know, we were trying to figure out the other day. I was doing a podcast, and I had Vesner at 4, Danny at 5, who said he wanted to. Rita was in there, but yeah, in the last maybe 12 hours or so, I started hearing. But you know what? There's more people anointed mayor in November that don't make it through December.
Let's count. Let's count who you think. Let's do the real prediction. So you say Rita, Danny. You say, and I'm just trying to figure out how you got to the number 6. You get Rita, Danny, and then I don't know that they're doing this. Kim, Rita, Danny, Kim, John Sakari. Where's the 6th?
I was told that McDonough told people he was going to go with Danny Rourke. I don't know if that's
I
true.
haven't heard anybody say anything.
I heard him say that too.
Yeah.
You heard him say it here?
Yeah.
So that was brought to my attention last night, and I said, geez, I didn't know. But my thing has always been...
But Sean might call in this morning. He won last night. He's
Things
doesn't know if
change
he...
when you win.
Yeah, he doesn't know. I'm sorry.
Like I said, you get the votes in November. You got to hold them through January, and that's tough. Stevie Genrin lost it going walking into the council chamber.
Yeah.
That story, you know. Who else? Billy Martin lost some votes. It's tough. It's tough to hold those votes through January. So.
Yeah, you got to be nice. You got to be nice. But the helpful part is some of the voters aren't in office yet. So you can also be nasty if you're leaving office. You can be nasty.
What? Well,
It's hard. I mean, when you're on the losing side, and you're going down, you're going to be out in January. Some people will give you a piece of their mind.
Well, I think that you have 2 candidates who, well, I think 3, who are very, very good, personable people, and I don't think you're going to see that.
Michael, you're sitting there kind of quiet. What do you got? Any thoughts?
I'm just taking it all in.
Oh,
I think when you listen to...
You get up this early, you got all dolled up just to take it all in.
I think when you listen to Wayne Janess, he's a very, very good person.
He's a great guy.
And I don't see a mean side of him. I don't see that out of
Paul.
Yeah, and
No.
Corey Belanger has already known, and he's been excellent. So I don't know. You could be right, but I haven't seen it that out of any of their personalities.
No, I haven't seen it.
I don't think you'll see the lockstep voting you used to see.
It's going to be an interesting council. You know, I'd made the predictions because I saw a lot of 7-4 votes. So I says if they can flip Belvedere and the Acre, which you can do on 900 votes, and then Belvedere try to, you know, they were going after Corey, who I thought was doing a good job because of the appointment. And I was honest. I see him at the health club. I said, Corey, take it. And I called him, take it. Everyone else put in for it. If they get those votes, you don't think they're going to take it? Give me a break. And so, you know, that was an issue up there. But I said if they switch 2 seats, those 7-4 votes are now 6-5. And, you know, people, oh, you're telling me Tommy's going to get fired? I said, no one fires the city manager. It just changes the shift of the council. And you see it every 2 years, every 4 years, you see a shift on the councils in Lowell. And we'll see.
How many more voters came out to the polls last night compared to the primary? Low voter turnout is a Massachusetts model. And I say we have educated voters. We don't have stupid voters. I didn't see anybody across the street at the Rogers School with a piece of paper in their hand who to vote for. Yesteryear, I did. I didn't see anything yesterday.
They worked hard in this district this time. Sean McDonough and Wayne, they were working hard. Sean was on the other side of the river really pushing it, and he was speaking Portuguese to the people in back central. He speaks Portuguese, and he's a nice guy, and they're both good guys. And but yeah, this election season was just different. Even in Belvedere, everyone, as tight as it was, I didn't hear any attacks or anything like that. It was just campaigning on issues. Perceived issues sometimes, but issues.
Well, what about in Paul's district? What was the issue there? That he went down.
They wanted the seat. The other side wanted the seat, and they ran. So you want to be honest, that's it.
I think if you're going to be honest, I think that Vesner and Paul were friends in the beginning, and then something shifted, and now they wanted, to make sure that. I know Sidney Liang, I've known him. My son took Taekwondo with his daughters. He's a phenomenal guy. He'll do well, and he's personable, and sometimes these seats. When you look at the districts, the original 8 that won those seats, 4 of them have already changed.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that interesting? Did you
it's a
expect
50%.
that?
Since inception, I think. Some of us left, and some of them just. Yeah, I don't know.
Everybody
overthought
said
that.
oh no, once if you went to districts, they were just going to own the districts, and that hasn't turned out at all.
I think there should be term limits in districts. I think it should be a staggered term limit. I think it should be 2 this year. You get 10 years in. You can hold it for a 10-year period if you win. And I think it should be staggered because I do think that it's hard to run against your neighbor. It's hard to put up, but you really would love to do it. And then sometimes when you see strong showings, nobody wants to put their name on and get into the battles that McDonough and Jeunesse live. You could throw a rock at each other's
The same
home.
street, yep.
Yeah, and
Downtown Lowell
that's
Market.
not an easy thing, and it puts a lot of pressure on your neighbors to vote. And when you look at a lot of these races, when you look at the Belvedere one, you got people who have just it looked like young versus old. It looked like here
That's
we
what
go,
it was,
we're in, and Michael knows the Highlands better than anybody, and he could tell you up there what it was like.
Just go, look, so we're going to go over the results. You look at it on your screen there, and City Councilor at large, Vesna Noon won. Rita Mercier, who came in second? Erik Gitschier came in second. Not a big difference. They would have got like 20, 30 votes. And then Rita Mercier came in third. Not winning is Kaufman and DeJesus. And at-large school committee, McFadden, Danielle McFadden, and Connie Martin topped the ticket. They're in. Not making it is Bob Hoey and Zoe DeZinko. And in District 3, Duran, just by 5 votes, 6 votes, whatever you want to call it. She beat Dan Finn. I'm told Dan Finn went to Belinda's party and congratulated her. Although there's rumors there's going to be a recount on that one, so we'll see what happens there. Moving to the top right, Sean McDonough beat City Councilor Wayne Jeunesse. And then out in District 5, South Lowell, Kim Scott outrun Sherry Barboza. Big surprise in District 7, Paul Rethiem did not regain his seat. And good luck to, it was a big surprise to me. So good, congratulations. And then we got Candido did fantastically for a kiddo with rumors of he's not a good Democrat. He's, but nonetheless, he got 685, but John Dakota beat him pretty good, so.
Is there a recount out there on that one in the Highlands?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know.
No.
I mean,
39 votes isn't a lot. I just, you look at,
close enough, but
Yeah.
what's going to happen in District 3? I mean, are there ballots out there? Like
That's what we were talking about earlier.
absentee?
Did they have all the
Or-
mail-in, all the absentee
'Cause that's-
service ballots, if you were in the
I'm
service?
told that
There could
any
be 5
mail,
ballots out there,
Yeah.
for sure.
I'm told any mail that comes is brought out to the district and fed into the machine there. Eric's nodding his head. Tell us more, Eric.
It is. So that it gets fed in at slow times during the polling, so they go over and they start feeding them in. So it's all in, I believe, from what I was told yesterday. That's why you have the unofficial results that Will had sent out to everybody.
So just backing up, I saw Will yesterday. Looks great. He was very optimistic and happy with the way things were going. I saw him at the Rogers School, the STEM Academy across the street from my house, and he's pretty happy about things. But my takeaway from what you said, Eric, is the mail-in or the drop-off, whatever, any ballot that was brought to City Hall, be it by the mail carrier or dropped off by somebody, was transported to its polling location yesterday, and it was fed into the machine yesterday during the election.
I'm not sure how it works if it's postmarked, though, before yesterday.
Well, that was my
And then
question.
comes in today.
Because absentee isn't necessarily the same as mail-in.
Exactly.
Right.
Correct. So, I mean, 5 votes.
So
that's
I'm not sure about all that stuff. That's where it can
certainly
get.
possible.
I
Yeah.
think the courts have said if it's postmarked the day of the election, you have to count it.
Right.
So if those are coming in today or tomorrow,
Because I think, and I'm not 100% sure, you would know better than me, Marty, that if it's postmarked before, it doesn't have to be in there by a date as long as it's postmarked.
but that's what my understanding with
That's
the
mine,
court
too.
cases were, yeah.
Is that's mail-in and absentee?
Yeah,
Because there's just a difference there, correct? I mean,
yeah, as long as, post office has changed, there's no more local mailboxes, they used to throw it right in Lowell. We would run it and run it right over, you know?
You don't
see
have
it.
local mailboxes anymore?
I haven't seen any. Everything goes to Boston or Woburn, I don't know.
Oh, see,
I've been out
Kingsborough has
15 years.
local.
Do they?
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
What's a local mailbox, Marty?
Yeah, if you wanted to stay local, if I'm mailing something to McDonough Funeral Home, I put it in a local mailbox.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got you.
We used to pick them up outside of the Lowell Post Office, 8:30 in the morning, cancel it, and it'd be out that day.
Yeah.
there used to be 2 slots,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
for local mail and one, yeah.
yeah. But that's a good question. I think there could still be some ballots out that might have been mailed in later. So we'll.
Few and far between, because if you want your vote to be counted, you're getting that thing to the post office quick.
And I think military ballots, you can't put a deadline on them. If you mail, you're in the service, say in Florida, you mail, I think it counts when it comes in.
Then that certainly does. How long do they wait for that, though,
I don't know.
in something this close?
I thought military got a waiver on that.
Oh,
But
they
just
have a
some-
waiver, but I'm not sure how long.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not sure
don't
what
know.
Good questions for Will Rosenberg when he comes in next time.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back to a single election day.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
if
I
Lake
think so.
Pappas is
Same.
watching, please let us know.
I forget where it was, one state, they went into a homeless camp to clean it up, there were 150 ballots they found. Then Lawrence is under, the state's running the Lawrence election because of mail-ins.
Speaking of homeless, you almost lost 2 this morning. 2 ran right out in front of me
Yeah.
on Fletcher when I
They
was
saw you coming.
in
Listen,
black, dragging
got-
their blankets behind them.
She's got good insurance right out in front of her.
Wow, they didn't even blink. They just off they went. I almost nailed them.
So, you guys have a contract coming up, the firefighters? We're talking about health insurance.
I don't think we do.
Okay. I noticed that,
I can't, you know what? I can't
I
keep
think
track.
it's next
'cause-
year.
Yeah, I
Is
think
it?
it's probably at least a year off.
I don't
Yeah.
know why they don't get it done 2 years in advance, though.
when we did the podcast, and Teddy was pushing me on the manager getting the contract 2 or 3 years earlier. And I suppose it's up to the council. I gave him the pros and cons. But I says, if I'm a union president, I'm going in the next day and I want to redo my contract. Apples and oranges. I said, no,
agree
it's
with
not.
you. No, it's not.
I says, I'm in there, and if he says no, I says, I'm gonna make note of the day I go in, and we're gonna prorate it to that day.
I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
that it's, to me, not very efficient to do that in government because you're projecting out 3 years on top raises and everything.
Yeah.
And that's not what government should be doing. but it is what it is.
Boston did it yesterday. I was reading Boston signed an agreement. I don't know if it was superior officers or the regular patrolmen. They had 2 years left, but the city wanted some concessions maybe on training and whatnot. And the union president was smart. Good, we'll go in, and they get 2%. So they get 2% for whatever the city wanted. And the contract's the same, 2 more years, but they get 2% more for whatever concessions they made. So you can do it that way, too.
I want to go back to the election because I got 2 Highland guys here. Are the Highlands changing? Is there? Do you think that the population has changed?
No, I don't think as much as what the results show. I think that people, Vesna's been always very powerful up there, and
Yes,
he's
he
always
has.
had a great vote. And the kid Candido did a lot of work, and he worked hard. And that's what people want to see. We're still a working class city,
Yeah.
and people like to see people work. And whatever the strategy was, it worked. When you get out there and you put in that work, and someone's at your door 3 and 4 times, with whether it's the candidate or someone else asking you, to help out. I think it means something to people, and they want to see you work. So I think the Highlands is still, the amazing place that we grew up in,
Yeah.
and it's preserved to the way it is. And even the new families who come in, everybody needs a voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was a great turnout by both, and I would congratulate the Candido kid. First time out, goes into the Highlands, and don't forget, he lived up there. He grew up there. He
Yeah.
has connections up there. He
Okay.
has friends up there. It's not
Well,
like
that's
this
what I'm
kid just
asking. Is it-
parachuted out of a
there's a-
plane and
there's
landed
I
in
didn't
the
know if it was a
Highlands.
new citizen.
Eric, there's a machine up there that made it happen. There's no
Okay.
doubt. There's a machine up there.
Oh, John has a machine too. Don't ever
Well,
think he
that's
doesn't. He took every single vote that was a certain way for the city manager. So don't think that he doesn't have a machine too. So you're putting 2 machines against each
Well,
other.
Solidarity
just like
Lowell,
each
or
other.
whatever their nickname is,
Okay.
they're a machine.
2 nice guys, too. Marcos,
Yeah.
I had him on
And
the
I don't
show a couple
disagree
of
with that.
times. Nice kid.
Yeah.
Smart, brilliant kid, And he's one of these people, if he knocks at your door, you're putting him under heavy
There's 2
consideration.
machines. John Dakota has been down at Inside Lowell almost every single time. That's his machine. When you look at their machine, it's Solidarity Lowell.
Yeah.
So, both of them have machines. They have thoughts. They have good candidates. They worked hard, and it's good to see things that are that close, because it keeps people like me and Mike on our toes. We're like,
Well, they made a
here
big
we
deal
are.
out of him being a Democrat socialist. But if you look at the Democratic Party today, everyone under 35, probably 90% of the Democrats under 35 or 40 are Democrat socialists. That's what they are.
That's just
Well,
because
is that where the-
it just sounds nice.
Yeah,
They think it's trendy.
well, they
They
have
are,
their
right?
views. They want freebies, and this is a generation that grew up with money for covert. Biden saying we're going to pay off your educational bills. They're used to big government.
I'm still trying to figure out how it works. You go to a college, they brainwash you into a certain direction. They're saying everything is free, but yet the professor's making $150K.
Yes.
Exactly.
And you look
Correct.
at, I'm like,
Yes.
okay, so I want one of you kids to walk in there when they say that and ask him why he gets paid and why you're leaving there in $200,000 in debt.
Right.
If everything should be like that, why are colleges making the money that they're making?
I got some.
I'm a trade school person.
Right.
You know that. So for me, it's even hard to get elected in the city. In the history of the city, there's only been 2 trade school people that have ever been elected.
You and Tenza.
Me and Danny Tenzar, and there's never been a mayor that's ever been a trade school person.
No.
So that trade school is still being kicked like it doesn't belong. And when you think about things and you look, you got 700 people on a waiting list. You have a governor who told you when they ran for election that they were going to build them bigger and stronger and they were going to advance them. Done nothing for it except for try to take the trades out of there and put them in an academia world. So when you start looking and you're looking around, they're in trouble the next year. They need to understand that trades are going to be the future. There's no debt.
I don't get political on Facebook, but one day I did a post to take the $4 billion that Harvard wasn't going to get and spread it around the country to trade schools. That was what I posted. I came under attack so bad from people. I'm a quitter, I'm a loser, I'm this and that, I'm no good. And I'm not saying take the money and give it to someone else. I said, put it in education. And then I get blowback because on the radio, we were talking about the No Kings, and I said, well, here's the people who endorse it. And I read it right from the Boston Herald, the American Civil Liberties Union, college professors. And I said, it's the only protest I've ever seen in tweed, okay? Everyone's well-dressed, upper middle class, but think of it, This is what you saw, teachers, and nationally, one guy on TV said it looked like the faculty lounge,
We push people into poverty with the smoke and mirrors that we're helping them.
Absolutely.
When you start looking at, you're looking at people and being put into, subsidized housing. Okay, what does that actually do for you for generational wealth? Nothing. It made some millionaire even more money, and then you go out and make a millionaire's tax to try to collect some back, but all they do is increase your rent so they can pay more.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing, and the subsidized piece comes from the state government. $2,466 for a two-bedroom apartment in Lowell is subsidized. Why would any landlord rent it for less than that to the working people? They don't.
They don't.
And even the people who are working poor are stuck in this thing. We need to put subsidized home ownership. Give people generational wealth. The Housing Authority has made millions off of subsidized housing. And people there are being paid more money in the same positions than they get paid for the city of Lowell. And then they ask the city of Lowell for money. How do you do that? Two electricians work in two places. One gets paid a lot more than the other one. And then you're asking the place that gets paid less to give you more. How does that work?
City employees have always been paid less than Lowell. When you look
They've come up a lot
around,
in the last
they've
couple
come.
years.
They have. But I think the first one,
Yeah.
Joe Tully
and I
was the
agree.
first.
Yeah.
Joe Tully was the first, I think, to bump them up. But other than that,
We've been
it's,
pushing for fair wages, but we want to hold you accountable at the same time. We're not going to pay you a fair wage while the park falls apart.
No.
We're not going to pay you that money, and that's where the accountability piece comes in.
Oh,
If I'm
yes,
gonna give
we
you
do.
more, I
Look
want
at the
more.
management team. Look at the people who work on the second, third, fourth. Maybe he even has people in the attic. How many relatives, friends of elected officials, and his friends meeting Mr. Golden, work at City Hall and they just don't do their job? I mean, when you have potholes on the agenda of the city council, there's something wrong with that municipality. Potholes should never be on the city council agenda.
The friendship thing doesn't bother me as much as, because the private sector is filled with friendship things. You hire somebody.
Connection.
I'm more
Who
in
get
tune
fired
with-
when they don't produce.
with the accountability piece, and that's what I agree with you with a million times over, is the accountability piece. In Lowell, we are not very good at holding middle management accountable. Not at all. And that's the problem. And then when people move up the ladder, I think that's where some of the problems is. When Michael and I worked together for many years, and then Michael knows somebody and gets the promotion over me, even though everybody in the place can see who has more skill set for that position, it kills the morale. So it shuts down the place.
Can anybody tell me what a provisional ballot is?
those are ones they put to the side, I believe. If I go
Or in question?
and I don't have my ID with me, and they said, well, you need an ID to vote, which they asked me in the primaries, they could still fill it out and put it to the side. There's provisional ballots if people move. I moved,
So who
Last Friday.
determines them, the board?
I don't know the election commission holds them.
That could include like inactive voters also.
Yeah.
At times, if they
If
don't.
you-
But
if
they've
you-
been doing it they've been doing it right on scene. I know for the last,
Have they? Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
if you're inactive, I was inactive before the primary, and they fixed it right
They-
there.
Did
I
you
had a
not turn in
ID.
your census?
Right.
I did not.
See,
Yeah.
and that's
Actually, I
bad.
did. I just did late.
Yeah,
It was
and
a
that's,
little
and
later.
then you're taken off the vote.
Yeah.
But then you become a provisional vote.
Right.
But I think they're bypassing that step now. It seems like, anyway.
Yeah.
So they fixed they're great at the polls.
They do a
as far
good
as,
job in there, yeah.
getting the job done. And,
Yeah, Will's done an amazing job.
No, the elections are always interesting, and you look at the councils, and now you go into the mayor's thing, and then you're gonna go, I think the big split on the council may really show at the budget, and it usually does, and that's where the direction of the city is gonna come, where the manager, because you can't add to the budget, you can only, so if they have a direction they wanna go in, that's where they fill the budget. But sometimes the councilors have different ideas. So unless they call the council in one by one and say, what are your thoughts as we move forward? They're already working with department heads, I'm sure. And as you said earlier, with the health insurance, until they get this figured out down in Washington, I don't know
Marty,
whether it's going to be like.
I'll give you an example of an issue. We have irrigation systems in the city.
Yeah.
We have 2 plumbers. We have irrigation systems in the city. We got 2 plumbers. What is more important for the plumber, to fix the toilet and the sinks and everything, or blow out irrigation systems?
Right.
We can hire a contractor at short money to go do that, and it will be done much, much faster and more efficient. But no, we have to send our plumbers out while our work orders stack up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. And we brought it to the council and said, look, why don't we look at contracting this out? So our plumbers will spend days and days and days.
Eric, well, the
out
big
in
question is, why doesn't our water department
and it doesn't
fix
go up.
their broken pipes? This is a comment from the audience. What does it mean to say affordable housing or market rate? I agree, they're both fuzzy words that the government likes to throw around to confuse people.
Well, the affordable housing is
How much can I
subsidized.
expect to pay in
Yeah.
rent or mortgage
I mean-
each month for those 2 terms?
It's a simple thing. I mean, affordable housing is subsidized by government in some way, shape, or
And
form.
40Bs,
Yeah.
40Bs, Ralph.
And that's how it gets subsidized some way by your tax dollar. And
It's
then
not low income.
Market rate isn't subsidized. It could be, they got a TIF or something like that, but it's not a subsidized ownership piece. And when you have affordable housing, you're putting more money in it to bring down the rate so people can afford it. But it just comes back to government is paying that dime. And that's where your inflation comes in. And people think inflation's high, but yet want to have all of these programs. So inflation goes higher when you have more and more government money being spent on other things. So it filters in. When you buy your bread, understand government's a piece in that tax the company more, and it costs more to generate funding. And as government's funds go up, when I first started in government, the pays were nowhere near the private sector.
No.
The private sector was more money, they had better 401ks, they had better everything. Today, the government sector pays more than the private sector in many, many instances.
And it's guaranteed pension.
Yes,
No.
yeah. It depends if you're out there over 10
The
years.
government's not going
yes.
out of business, Eric.
If you're there over 10 years,
The
yes.
government's not going out of business.
But if you're under 10 years, you're not vested in to get.
Well, I
that
asked my
pension.
friend Bud Caulfield in his career in elected political service, and you're not going to find anybody better than Bud Caulfield, who's been a city councilor and a mayor. I said, Bud, you were probably in like 20, 30 years. How many people got fired? 2.
Well, I think that's changed. I
Oh,
think
really? How many got fired this year?
I can name 4 that got,
This year?
told to leave. Yeah.
Well, people quit their jobs, pressure, don't like the new
Well,
boss.
no, they're told to leave. Because of the cost of firing someone is not as simple in government as it is at John McDonough's funeral home.
Yep.
It's not you can walk in and say you're fired because there's a lot of union backings, there's a lot of things that
No, we just
the
say,
same person like
give us your
you-
tie, give us your tie.
the same person like you, not you specifically, put in place all these regulations and put restrictions on us, whether it's prevailing wage, whether it's the structure to go to arbitration on somebody who files grievances, and it costs the district hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just on trying to push back against. You could come in late, let's say 10 times, John. Half hour late. You file a grievance because my buddy came in 3 times late. And now we're in arbitration going back and forth, but if I can negotiate you to just get out of here, and it costs less than that cost that it would cost me to go to arbitration, we settle out. See you later.
Yeah.
And that happens more often than not.
That's
People
why
don't
Bud
understand.
Caulfield told me only 2 got fired. It's too hard to get rid of people.
No, it's not too hard. It's documentation, and people are lazy. That's what happens in government. You get a lazy
Well,
boss.
how many
middle management.
supervisors do you have in the city of Lowell that are smart enough to actually work through their process?
I don't know that answer, but
There are not many.
Yeah, and we had a supervisor take a vehicle home to his house outside the city on overtime with GPS in his vehicle. That's how bright this supervisor is. And, you know, they still work.
I had a road crew,
In your profession, they would have been gone that minute.
I'm doing a drone video of the river. So I take it off, I'm up in the Highlands, take off, and there is a City of Lowell crew that recognizes me. And they can see I'm flying a drone. They all in unison gave me the finger. Now, how dumb is that to do?
Yeah.
Now, they know I have a drone.
Did you
What's
turn
that
it
do?
in?
It takes pictures.
Did you
No,
turn
I don't
it?
care.
Okay, so you didn't help out anything. You're the
I don't.
problem.
I couldn't care less.
You're the problem.
Well, Eric,
You're the problem. If we're going to
you can
hold
say I'm
people
part of the
accountable,
problem.
it has to be we all care.
you can say I'm part of the problem, but I don't care. If,
Exactly.
if those guys were just fooling around, giving me the finger, or whether it was
All right.
vindictive, I have no idea. But I just took it with a
So
grain
then
of
we
salt.
should turn the page if we don't care. You know what I mean? You
Eric,
have
you
to.
can sit there
So
as
you're
smug as
okay
you
with
can
them
sit-
doing
Eric,
that?
You can sit there as smug as you want, okay?
No, that's not smug.
No. Nobody gets fired in the city of Lowell. Nobody. And
Well,
you can
it's
say
because-
four people this year. How many employees does the city of Lowell have? I don't know.
It's because people like John McDonough let them give them the finger and don't say anything. And if they go into a school setting and do that, John McDonough is okay with it because he knew they were doing this. And that's the problem is documentation. Nobody wants to be the bad guy, John, and I agree with you. Nobody wants to be the person that says, hey, look, this is just not the right behavior in a public setting. And especially in your situation
Antisocial
where you have
behavior.
other stuff. It's just wrong. And you know how many times I get a complaint at the school about somebody who's a very good employee doing something like that? And it goes, here you go. Come in here, sit down. Not the right behavior in this setting. If you don't like your job, continue to do it. Here is your written warning. Bye. And then the next day they usually are like, hey, listen, I didn't mean it like that. I was joking with John. Okay, joke on your time, not mine. Joke when you don't have that uniform on or that city vehicle. And again, it goes right back to all of us. And it's all of us, me included. I see them do things that I'm like, oh, Jesus, why are you doing this? But if we want accountability, all of us have to get involved. And it's a hard thing to do, like you said.
So
John,
going
John
back
gets
to
flipped off so
going back to the
much.
plumbers.
John gets flipped
No.
off so
Everyone
much.
likes the firemen. Firemen never in trouble. Everyone likes them, the public loves them.
The public just doesn't hear about it.
Well,
They-
the firemen never
have
going to
always-
get in trouble because they
We've
don't
had
wait for
plenty of
somebody to call it in. If they see a fire, they go put the fire out.
Michael
They're out
said
riding
it's
around in their truck and say, hey, look, it's a car fire. Well, we're going to wait till somebody calls that in, like the road crew that drives over the pothole.
They're like the
Or the police officer
they
who
keep it in-house.
dodges the pothole and doesn't just send over to DPW saying, hey, there's a pothole over here, can you grab this?
The fire department's always been good about keeping it in-house. They monitor themselves, like the post office did. You don't read about the post office too much.
I think it's to a fault.
What's it?
It's to a fault. We don't let people know
What you do?
the
Yeah.
inner workings sometimes, and we should be blasting it all over the place. To be honest with you.
The firefighters are different. I remember when I was on the council, they were going after the chief over the fire alarms, the contract. So there was a letter from the Office of Inspector General. So I'm used to doing it this way. I called down, I talked to the guy, and I said, I want to ask you about this letter. He said, who are you? I said, well, I'm on the city. Oh, you're a politician. And I said, did I insult you? I says, I used to work with the Office of Inspector General at the federal level. Did I insult you? Well, no. Then let's start over. So the guy got on, and I asked about the letter, and he said, so what? What about the letter? And I said, well, it's caused a lot of controversy. Well, I don't know why. He says you have a state fire marshal. He runs the fire departments. If he okays it, what's the problem? I said, that's all I need to know. Thank you. And then a low son killed me when I brought that story up on the floor about state. But the fire department has its own little, with the state fire marshals and everything else. And I don't know.
Marty,
Our line is usually, don't worry, we're not the police. When we show up,
Yeah, they're not writing
When you see
songs
someone
about fire.
Narcan.
people get fidgety, and we're like, we don't care, we're not the police. Just tell us the truth. That usually.
I love that line when someone wants to swear at you, they call you a politician.
Yeah.
I always say, listen, I'm not a politician, I'm an elected official.
Did I insult you? Well, no. Okay, let's start over.
I tell them I'm an elected official. I'm not a politician. I'm an elected official. And
Oh.
they start laughing. But,
Wow.
I mean,
But,
I think you kind of fit that naturally.
Little
Yeah,
comment
no.
from the audience, and it says, didn't 3 people just get fired?
Huh.
Belanger, Yem, Janess.
that's what I said
That's
to
what
my
you
wife
said
this
earlier.
morning.
Yeah.
The tough part about the day after the election, those are 3 good people, 3 nice
Very,
people.
very good people.
And not to their fault that they got beat. It wasn't about them. Sometimes it's just the political atmosphere in the city. There's the waves that go through, and but 3 good people.
Michael mentioned earlier, socialism, a democratic socialist, and it's a buzzword right now, and it sounds nice. I think maybe we ought to start teaching civics again so people know what a socialist is.
Yeah.
Because they say, Trump was going to destroy democracy as we know it. Well, what would you call socialism? I just asked.
Linda, I'm watching New York TV yesterday because I wanted to see Mondami, whether he was going to win or not. And I'm listening to the broadcasters, 2 of them saying, well, public schools are socialist. It's a socialism. It's the goodness for everybody. And I can see how they're working the word socialism into their vernacular on New York TV.
Yeah.
Comment from the audience, Marty's right. Marty's always right. Marty's right. You haven't heard the phrase going postal in quite a while.
No, it's funny not funny, but when all these things were going on, they came out with a survey on violence in the workplace. We were at the low end. We had the bigger cases, but we were at everyone likes their mailman. You never see, very seldom do you see a mailman.
No, I haven't liked some of my mailmen.
Yeah.
Very cranky, some of them.
I
For the most part, they're lovely, but
I get called in one day, they said, you've been on that route 1.5 years, we never got a complaint. I said, well, I bid routes, but I don't speak English. I said, I just fly under the road right there. But,
Mine feeds my dog, so if my dog likes you, I like you, whatever.
But
you have great dogs in the Highlands that come to vote, I must say.
The dogs are out.
Right? Yeah.
No.
there was one house in Belvedere, they had those electronic, and the dog would get out all the time. So if I was out, I'd see him, I'd put him in the truck and bring him home, And I get questioned, you put dogs in the truck? I don't know what you're talking about. That's all they want to hear. That's as
Beautiful
far as
dogs,
they
though.
want to go. But
Interesting.
no, it's tough being a public employee. I've never had an issue, but some people just don't like public employees. And
Comment from the
They don't
audience.
like public officials. They're a target.
Belvedere lost good representation when Belanger lost his seat.
Yeah.
Thank you, DW. I agree.
Yeah, he was good. But no fault of his own. I saw him at the health club the other day. I said, Corey, you had nothing to do with this. You had absolutely nothing to do with this. And I know some people made the appointment, and I'd say, well, everyone put their name in, If they got the votes, they would have taken it, It's like I was debating with some of these no king days, and, he's killing democracy. I said, wait a minute, you had Biden get run, they ran Biden out, and you could have gone to the convention and picked a candidate, but you gave it to the vice president. Well, it's different.
The last 2 elections.
Yeah, I says, it's not different. You can go to the convention and pick a candidate. You refuse to
Super
do it.
delegates.
It's a tough position for Corey because
It is.
you do, I'm sure, have not guilt, but there's people yelling about it, and then and you take the seat, like you said, he feels like, should I take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it went. That's,
Everyone
that's
else,
the process. I mean, what do you mean,
Corey worked hard.
Yeah.
He loves his job.
Yeah.
And he cares. I mean, he answers the phone for everybody, whether people like or dislike you. He worked hard, but as you know, Marty, I was against the appointment piece. I thought that
Oh, yeah.
because I was told by Senator Kennedy at the time, we will have it here on this day. And it was 2 days after this vote. We could have we can have special elections for everything else, but we couldn't. And I think it's still a smug way of pushing we couldn't do this. And I think it pushed people into a bad position that were running for office. And I think that, like you said, anybody would take the position. but at what cost? And I think that you're right, that was the cost.
That was the cost, and, I know Eddie, I think Eddie said you could have had one.
He said absolutely, and it was 2 days
Right.
after we took the vote at the council. That Thursday, they came out and said, yes, we can do it.
And Eddie's I liked Eddie personally, and, when we were on the council, he used to say, let's go out for beers afterwards. You have to get along as a council.
Yeah.
So Eddie would get these groups together to go out for beers afterwards. Eddie was good.
Do you believe, you got an election person in front of you telling you, they're never going to get it done, it doesn't get through this quick with that team, and then you got a senator saying, we can. And I just thought it was right by people to take their own vote, that's called democracy, like you said, you highlighted, and I just thought that was the way to go.
I would have voted for Corey anyway. I knew Corey the best out of everyone, so I was going to vote for him.
You're right, but I mean, you're right, and that's why Corey got put in that position.
Yeah.
It makes things awkward, and you feel like you shouldn't be there,
Right.
or at least you get pushback feeling like that you shouldn't be there. So yeah,
I think Corey's chances would have been much higher if it was a special election at that point. I think Corey would have.
Do you think
he
he
had
was
his
set
team.
up?
I think somebody wanted something so bad that they pushed it this way. I don't know who that somebody is, but there was a direction that was set
Yeah.
out, and this was the direction, the path they wanted, and that's what they
Because
did.
it was a done deal as soon as he was appointed.
Because it was a 1.5 year appointment, and let's just get someone in here, and we're going to do our thing, and
I get blamed for that.
there you go.
We did the podcast, I do my predictions, and we did the predictions in January on Teddy's show, and I said, there's two different ways of running the city, and they compete. And I said, they're going to target Belvedere because Corey got the appointment. That's really the excuse. And the Acre, you can win with 500 votes. So I said, they're going to target those two, and with all these 7-4 votes, now it's 6-5
Who's
the
they?
other way. The other side. There's different people who view the city on how it should be run. And just look at the manager. Every 4 years, it changes. And they're not, everyone, oh, that's terrible. They're not bad people. They're good. They're all good people. They just have a different, like, you listen to Erik. He has a different way of how the city should perform. And I thought they would run candidates, and they did. And I thought it was about the contract. The manager's contract was to get Corey in to probably support it. Not that the others wouldn't have. I don't know what they would have done. But I thought the contract was the key.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was getting blamed is people said to me, well, people heard what you said, and now they're concerned, and get the contract out ahead of time. And I said, you got 2 years left. I mean, I don't know what the big deal is. This is how politics run in the city. I got taken out because I said I'd give Lynch a contract. Okay, there you go.
I think we are up for our contract on the fire department now.
I think it's
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah, I
No,
thought,
I think we're a year late. We settle contracts 2 years in advance now, don't we?
do you? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. You had me thinking
Yeah,
about it.
no.
I would have been in there the next day. I would have made
Just
an
a joke.
appointment and said,
Just
well,
a-
let's
actually
renegotiate. I mean, that's my mentality.
Look, if you're as a union person, now I'm going to put on my union hat. I've been a union person since I started on the city. I'm still a union person, but as a union person, you want to negotiate when is good.
Right.
That's when you want to negotiate your
And
contract.
it was good
when
last year.
And now it's not good. Would that contract have been a different point money-wise if it was
Right.
done next year? And I would say that watching government spending and everything going on, I would say that you would have more challenges next year than you had when you settled the contract.
You're right. When I get on, they were negotiating a contract, and the manager said, well, they're going to get 3.5 or 3, whatever.
Sorry, kids, we gotta go to break.
And I said,
We'll be
why? He
back.
said, they haven't had a contract yet, but they haven't had a raise.
Okay, so just reading these texts,
Then stop.
they can hear your microphones, boys, just so you know, okay?
You're not doing physical work,
What happens moving forward with respect to replacing a counselor?
you know, every time.
Do we have a special election next time, or do we do the same thing? Mr. Belanger was a yes vote on the raise for the manager. And the last one, isn't the real culprit Leahy got elected knowing he was going to resign for a city job? Interesting comments. Back over to you guys.
That's
Yolanda.
interesting take on it. Welcome back to City Life. I'm Linda Bown. I'm your host. I have Councilor Gitschier, Erik Gitschier, just re-elected again, and Mike Dillon, former school committee member, and former Councilor Marty Lorrey. So, Michael,
Yes.
let's talk about the educational system. When I brought up, what are we teaching the kids in school? Because I know that you have an interest in, and of course you're on the school committee. How do we get our schools back? Because I think they've gone awry.
Yeah, it's complicated in some ways, but simple in others. Discipline and accountability, like Erik was talking about earlier with employees. There's no accountability in the schools. There's a strong lack of discipline, and you can get away with a lot.
But I hear the Daily has always been, and still is, the principal at the Daily
Yeah.
runs a very tight ship.
I think
Is it expected?
the way that things are right now, it takes an extremely unique person to get that done, and there aren't a lot of people that can handle it. That everything's working against you as an administrator in the schools. Most of your decisions are made from the state and delivered to you. And the way I describe it to people is principals walk around every day. They got about 17 things that they got to take care of, problems. Each one that they go to, the first 4 options that you would think of as an educator or somebody who knows kids, do what's best for the kid in each situation. The top 4 are taken away by the state. You can't do that. So you're like looking at this problem and you're like going down the list, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that. And 5th one's there, it's not that good, it's not going to make everybody happy. All right, this is how we're going to do it. And nobody's happy about it. The biggest thing that I'm having an issue with my kids right now is discipline in the elementary school level. We don't have enough sub-separate classes for disciplinary issues, and kids pull fits every day in my kids' class, and we remove the rest of the kids from the class for their safety. Remove the rest of the kids from the class so that kid can do whatever he wants. And
Comment
while
for
my
the
kids
audience.
stand in the hallway.
The dishonesty from the government is they tell you there's a housing crisis, and then on one breath let millions of newcomers in. Now you have to pay for it. Interesting comment. Thank you.
It's funny with the newcomers coming in, the migrants, I forget how many hundreds of thousands, but there was one train of thought, the governor was opening the gates because they're trying to save a congressional seat in Massachusetts. So many people had moved out, we were going to lose a seat. I don't know if that's still the case. I think it is. But there was a train of thought being put out there that this was all about saving a congressional seat.
Oh, do you mean
Of
that
course it is.
I'm being nice. I'm being nice.
there might possibly be a Republican?
Designated to
What's that?
holding people.
You think the thought of a Republican representing any part of the state? In Washington, we have none.
Two of the states that were bleeding residents were Massachusetts and New York. And now New York, you get all these for sale signs down in Manhattan. We lost a lot of people, 7, 8, 900,000 people from, when you look at the statistics. And now they've made it up.
Do you think, Marty, that the world has changed a lot when you look at, like, say, the 1920s and 30s when people migrated to the United States? It was because the jobs were here.
Jobs, yeah.
And now it's because the social services are here.
You know,
Has that totally flipped?
Yeah, I think so. You know, one time, if you applied to come into the government, now I grew up in a heavy Portuguese neighborhood. They used to tell me they needed a sponsor, a place to live and a job. And there were plenty of jobs, prints and the mills and things like that. But my understanding, that's why they would have immigration, and some years would be Europe, Africa, they would move it around, but it was for jobs. And there was a lot of mills, a lot of industrial sites in this state too, and you needed unskilled labor for certain jobs. But now,
Has that flipped? Now are they coming just for social services?
it's what it seems.
Because I can tell you right now, Lowell is in trouble.
Lowell's in a lot of trouble.
When you look, we're so heavily reliant on government money coming in, and we don't have the business base that we need. In downtown is the perfect example. A building becomes vacant, first thing we do is, we need it for government. Well, then we don't really have a plan for downtown. Let's face it. And that's what's happened down there, is it's more of a social service network and a government center than it is a business district.
Mike
And it's
Dukakis
sad.
is to blame. When he was governor, he wanted to put social services in major cities downtown because they were on the bus routes for the poor.
Yeah.
I'm
And
putting
that
this
made
back up
sense.
because people are asking for results, so this is the results of yesterday's election in lovely Lowell, Massachusetts, thanks to Inside Lowell. I took a screenshot off them, thanks. You guys can keep chattering, your mics still work.
When you're talking about immigration, it was funny with the school department over the years, they pay a heavy burden because you get these students in. And they used to tell me, and I'm not saying Michael, but some of the past, they would have immigration in Lowell and they would target, as I said, they would move it around. So one year you have Europeans coming in, you hire all these professionals, these translators, and the next year another group comes in. And is that true? You would have to really rehire different specialists in different languages.
Over the years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
certainly.
And so there was a burden on the school systems like in Lowell. And then, of course, the cost for education.
But the state subsidizes all that.
I think it's 70%,
70%. Come to the towns.
but now you have to play by the state's rules.
If you go to the Mass Municipal Association's website, right now, they're saying that government's in a crisis. And they're basically saying that the formula for inner cities, gateway cities, for education is way higher than anywhere else, and it's not a good offset. So they're trying to push that formula the other way. And then we hear in Lowell we don't get enough, and we don't have enough. So I don't know where that formula is, but if you look it up, it's on Mass Municipal Association's website. And when you read that whole thing, and it shows you the spending habits that are coming to inner cities, we better buckle up in Lowell because they're rallying against you, all these other communities, saying that, like Linda just said, the formula is not fair, and inner cities rolling in the cash for their schools, and they're not keeping up with the town. The towns are not keeping up, and that's why they're. And I've said this for a long time. When Lowell's out there promoting, we have this much room to our levy ceiling, and all the towns around us are maxed out. Well, yeah, because they don't get the offset from the state
That's right.
for their education piece, so they're offsetting it out of their levy ceiling, and that's why they're all at it. And when you look at those numbers and you read that piece, you have to really look back and go, wow. And a lot of what Michael was saying about accountability goes right back to John's point about people giving you the finger. If you hold people accountable for giving you the finger, I promise you no one else will be given the finger. If you let them give you the finger, the next thing you know, their pants are coming down. The next thing you know, everything it's the wild west. And that's what it comes down to.
Well, and that's what I say about the kid in my class that is having a fit. In my daughter's class, kid has a fit every day, throwing things across the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I'm talking about that kid needs to not be in my kid's classroom, I'm certainly advocating for my kid, but I also know that that's not what is best for that kid.
You're absolutely
For
right.
us to bring him in and not teach him how to be a responsible person, he's never going to get anywhere in his life. So not only are we pulling my kid back and not educating her like she should be, but that kid is never going to perform well in any public situation.
Question
Town
from
is going to take
not good
care
for
of
him.
them.
Question from the audience. With a good amount of buildings in downtown Lowell not handicap accessible, what is the best thing to do to the downtown area?
Well, I think you get economic development going down there where people want to invest and put an elevator in.
Yeah.
I think if it's thriving, you'll have elevators in those buildings. You'll find a way to do it. And I think that's the problem, is that we've pushed it down to a market where there is no market because it's all government agencies and nonprofits, and it's a social service network down there. So if it was a viable industry where it made money, you'd put an elevator in.
Well, if the front runner program comes through, and that's independent, that's not government, that's,
It's private sector investment, yeah.
that's the answer, if you can get it.
If you can, that's the big, you're praying it comes in.
One of the major drivers to this, and you have to understand, is that the big piece to the front runner is you're going to get a low interest loan.
Yep.
But if government goes back down and pushes the interest rates down, now what's
That's right.
the separation to it?
Well, how much more money you want to borrow? We're going to borrow at least $50 million to fix the high school. How much more money you want to borrow? Low interest loan?
Well, we were talking private sector, but the public sector is what you're saying. You have two different sectors.
But you make a good point, Eric.
How much more money we want to borrow? I mean, how are we going to fix
Well,
that
the
50
city
million?
wouldn't be borrowing on the buildings that they were talking about. You're talking about in our end.
I don't know what you're gonna do then.
They're competing with Rockland Trust, and I don't think Rockland Trust is going to let a Canadian bank or a European bank outbid us. I just don't think they will.
That's my concern, John. There has to be some driver for someone to come in and give out that money. Is it because they want to bankrupt the banking system and take it over? I don't know. Somebody has to have a purpose to this. And I know everyone says, oh, there's just this influx of money and some wealthy guy just wants to give you money.
Well, same thing with Lowell. You think Lowell 5 is going to stand by and let a bank from Europe take over? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't. It depends on how they're getting their money. If they're giving you 6% on CDs and then trying to loan out at 2.5%, there has to be some way they can't give out their CD money.
They're looking for government subsidy. The banks are looking for government subsidized.
Exactly. When can we stop affording it?
I was on with Teddy, and he said there's an announcement will be coming shortly. I mean, he said it on there. There's a $300 million investment. I don't think there's a bank in this area that could handle a $300 million investment. To your point, none of them are that big that I know of. But, going back to what you were saying about the state with the 70%, you have to match 30% of that. So the state's saying, we're going to pour more money into education. Well, good luck to the administration, because down in the council, that's the problem. You're going to have to match it.
So inner cities are going bankrupt on the other end. Is like Marty just said, if they give you, say, $7 million, you got to filter in 3. And in our end, what's happening is we're at a crossroads, because learning environments, should they be a certain standard? Should it be between 68 and 72 in a room? Should you not have certain things? Should the bathrooms work? All these things cost money. So we offset it with, you have to try to play both ends. I spoke to the superintendent, and I get how people campaign saying, we cut the schools and this and that. I spoke to the superintendent of schools before I took the vote, because I wouldn't have supported it. I would have said, okay, he needs the $4 million, but he said that he could get by on the $2 million. So we gave him the $2 million.
Yeah.
If he would have said 4, I would have voted no on the, because I think, like Michael had said about education, and you're looking at proper funding and stuff and trying to give them the resources, but
we spend so much money on education, particularly in Lowell, and we get very little for it. Very little for the money. That if your kid's above average, public schools in Lowell are a loss for you. They're not helping your kid.
I think that
we spend $16,000 a child.
I think it just goes back to the accountability piece, and I think if kids know, certain teachers, I watched them at school. Certain teachers, the kids go in there, their phone goes in that box right away. Boom, they sit down, and it's a lesson time. Other teachers, you go and you watch them, their room's like romper room, and you're like, and that same child went from that room to this room. I don't know why they behave in this room and they go to this room and it's romper room.
It's on the principal.
So, No, it's the
principal
teacher.
tolerates
The
it.
teacher controls, and then it goes to the
The principal tolerates it. The principal walks in your classroom, the teacher knows there's trouble here. I got
What
it.
happens, Mike, when all this happens at the school committee level? You get these reports, what can you do?
It doesn't show up in the reports. We don't, this is how socialism works.
He doesn't want to hear about
You
it.
implement socialist policy and ideas like our entire schools preach constantly, and when you don't have the resources and things start to go bad, you just say they're not going bad. We judge, I say this on the show a lot, we judge academic success on graduation rates, so everybody graduates, and our numbers look good. So we don't hold anybody back, everybody finishes, and we determine or judge our behavioral issues on suspensions and expulsions. And we just don't suspend anybody.
Going to Michael's point, I had a student say that same thing to me. Summer school, this kid comes in, and I have a very good relationship with him. And I say to the person, "What are you doing here?" She looked at me and went, "Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I can sit here for 9 months and listen to somebody say something, or I can come 2 weeks to summer school and pass the same class. 2 weeks, 9 months." She goes, "I'll see you next summer."
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Get that girl an internship.
She said, "I'll see you next summer." And I said, I never looked at it that way.
And, the other mistake, and your brother, I had him on the show one day, right now with the regional schools.
Speaking of which,
Not the regional,
it's Lee's
technical
birthday today.
schools.
Happy birthday, Lee.
Happy birthday, Lee. I was just going to ask about Lee.
When you apply, they look at attendance, they look at marks. Now the governor has decided, well, you're going to go by lottery. So now that's going to open up a problem at the technical schools.
You think my mother has a problem with sidewalks? Get her going on the lottery at the
That
vote
is,
school.
and I
She was a
saw
guidance
it,
counselor out there.
and I called Lee and I said, "You want to come on the show?" He said, "Sure, I'll come on." And I listened to Lee for like an hour. It was incredible, the changes that you're going to see out at these regional schools.
Do you know they closed the gap? John's a big MCAS guy, right? He's always said, "Oh, the MCAS," but I haven't heard him say much about Greater Lowell's lately.
It's the,
Oh, great.
Yeah,
If
well,
you look at Greater Lowell's
Your
number,
brother proudly
it
brought the
is.
results here.
It's a driver, right? And the fight from Desi was majority minority. Greater Lowell is well over the standard, well over.
Right.
It's basically so bad, it's the other way. And they have caught Tingsboro.
Well, now with
And they were
the
going
election
by.
behind us, I'm going to start to push more and more. What kind of personal finance training do you have at the Voc? And does it happen every? We have a
this
15
question all the
minute
time.
course.
That's not true. Again, John makes up things and tries to say they're true, but that is not true.
So what are you teaching out there?
They teach it every day in their classes.
What's the name of the class?
It's their shop. Okay, we'll take marketing. Marketing, every day they go in and they show them, here's how you do personal finance, here's how you work, here's how this. Plumbing, they go in, they do the same thing. We have a related shop for that, a related class. So that's what people don't understand the Voc yet. They're still lost in this whole
So you're teaching finance.
segmentation.
You're telling me at the Voc they teach personal finance every day to every kid.
We don't label
No.
things.
That's a question, Eric.
Yes, they teach not every day to every kid because then they go into academia week.
How often do they teach the children
John,
personal finance?
Greater Lowell is
Every other day?
Greater Lowell is on a different platform than everybody else. Remember, they do
that's a question.
academia
Eric,
once a week.
That's a question. I can ask Mike Dillon, how many fires did you put out yesterday? He'll have an answer. How many? So how often do the children
You're
get
asking a
personal
question.
finance training at your school?
2 weeks a month.
2 weeks a
Because
month.
you still don't
Thank
understand
you.
how vocational training works.
I don't want to
So
understand.
1 week
So
they
10
go
days.
academia.
10 days.
Right.
Now I will ask the high school,
who's
low high
on
school
the-
people.
who's
Because
talking?
it's not happening enough.
Here's the thing. A
I gotta
vocational
read these two
school,
texts when you're done.
a vocational school has academia 1 week. The next week they go into shop training. Shop training is personal finance, how to learn your trade, what's involved in your trade. That's part of the personal finance. It goes into the curriculum of training someone in their career. So it's part of that. If you want to go into cosmetology, they teach you, okay, here's how much products cost, here's how you do this, here's that. So it's part of each trade as you go through. So it's taught with the trade portion. And then in the other portion, they get some in the academic area when they go into their math classes. and
Public
stuff
school,
like
they get none.
if it's a different setup, and again, this governor promised
I know.
when she
we're gonna
ran,
pause.
But nobody will make her
we're
account.
going to build
Children,
vocational
we're gonna do
schools.
these two texts, and he can continue. Every project in the city has done as always been outside the downtown area. Ballpark, arena, hotel. The old dusty buildings have remained. That's from Jay. And then to continue, another texter, is it the trade-off you get with the state? Your city gets 70% of its funding, and you become a social safety net for the area. The towns in the area will forego state funds and push the most vulnerable people into low.
That's correct.
Interesting theory.
Well,
That's the
I
problem
think
with
it's correct.
education,
It's
education also.
right. It's one of the problems the city's going to face. It started when I was there. All the companies have left. Well, Wang went out, Courier Citizen,
Yep.
all these high-paying jobs. The insurances companies all left. You look at your top 10 employers now in the city, they're
The doctors
probably
left.
all nonprofits.
Yeah.
The university,
The hospital.
the hospitals, yeah. Probably CTI's in there, CBA, but your top employers in Lowell are now nonprofit. So,
That's why we're looking to that LINK program is the big driver. I think Chancellor Chen has put together something that is going to be
it's going to be incredible.
it's going to be the top dog of the area by far, and it's setting municipal government a direction. It's telling you, here we go. And when you look at that, Draper's already committed to the Hamilton Canal District. And I was a fight against Lapoli being able to do his little contract piece and pick my buddy hole system and leave that parcel vacant, because it is the premier parcel down
Yeah.
there. If we could have left that vacant and fought him in court, who cares if it takes 5 years? It doesn't matter. It's already been sitting 30 while these other places get established. If those places would have got established, you know how valuable that property would have been?
Eddie Kennedy, we were on the council, and they finally got the Hamilton Canal, the infrastructure was in, after years and years. And they said, okay, we're going to put the courthouse here. And it was during a council meeting, Eddie Kennedy said, why are you putting a courthouse in the best piece of property?
Right.
He's, don't you want a taxpayer? And Eddie was absolutely right.
100%.
And he was 100% right. And, but it was funny, when Trump got elected, I heard everyone complaining about grant money, and he's talking to Marty Mann. He was already down in Washington talking to his friends, the Republicans, for funding. And he does his own political work. Everything he touches, and I talked about the $4 million of $400 million Harvard wasn't getting. I said, well, if you don't give it to the regional schools, give it to Marty Mann. He'll do something with the money, in Worcester. But whatever the university's done, and Julie Chan's done a great job. That's going to be big.
It's going to be big.
Whoever runs the university, we're going to be kissing their butt forever because they have jobs. I'm surprised Tom Golden can sit down. Okay, from Zach Gitschier. Schools unable to teach personal finance every single day. Why not, Zach? Second from Zach, unless they have a specific course for it, and those are normally traditional high schools. I understand. We got to tell Desi what they can do in their hat. Okay, they have to stop. Tell Desi where to go.
Well,
And those are all
does know?
half-year courses.
What do we do with Desi? Everybody complains about Desi, but nobody seems
We
to know
t- we
how to
tell
get
them-
rid of them.
Yeah.
We tell the cowardly lion, that'd be Vanna Howard, defund them. Defund Desi. Spread it amongst your colleagues. Defund Desi. And then it's bye-bye butterfly.
She isn't going to
As
do
soon as you
anything.
hit somebody in the wallet, ooh, that's very painful. Hit them in the wallet. That's what you do with Desi.
They supply our school system with the large majority of the money that we use to educate our kids. And
They
so we're
taxpayer
beholden
funded, they supply us with taxpayer funded money.
We're beholden to every decision they make at DESI. And
And most of them haven't been in a classroom in 20 years.
that was my next thing, is they're sitting in a cushy office and making decisions that,
They don't even go
telling
into the
teachers what to
office,
do.
do they yet? Are they?
I don't know. I think that office building's probably empty because after COVID, I don't know if they've really gone back. But COVID was the prime example.
Yeah.
We couldn't do anything we could not stray, and they call it recommendation. This is DESE's recommendation on this issue. And there was no wavering one way or the other. It was, we're going to follow this recommendation, and anytime I would bring up, well, why do we have to? If it's a recommendation, we can take note, but we're Lowell, we're not every other town. Can't we stray, sort of cross the line here and there? Nobody would even, can't go against DESE. They pay us, they'll take away money.
They just made a big mistake with that lottery.
That's huge.
And the
It's
driver
travesty.
that Michael talks about is that what people don't see is because of the policies to get into the trade school, the students will not have certain behaviors in the middle schools, because if they want to go there, you have to perform a certain way in the middle school to get there.
It's incentive.
Now that you move that right out of the equation, it's only going to get worse. Because now kids will know I can still get in there and I don't really care, and there's no pride in it. There's no push and I think DESE made a big mistake.
Yeah. I agree. After your brother came on the show and we were talking to Lee, it didn't make any sense to me to go to a lottery. So, you talked about people from the regional schools not being a mayor and things like that. My senior year at Lowell High, it opened out in Tingsboro. And Linda, I think you were down there at the time. I walked in the first day, I had Jimmy Mitchell, Gary Murphy was down there, all these teachers. The next day, they were gone. They all went out to the regional school. Jerry Carpenter. I don't know if Jerry was the first one or the second. He was.
Yep.
He died very young,
Yeah.
a nice man. But they brought him in, and he passed away, 46, 47, yeah.
There's a monument out there for him.
Is there? And then they turned it right around and where Bill Collins came in. But from day one, they were up and going out there. And it's a great story.
Yeah, until they changed how they voted.
Yeah.
I won't go down that path again.
That's why people, when they talk about the Senate race and everything, every vocational person who runs for that seat runs the Senate, except for Pepperell.
Yeah.
The only place missing on it is Pepperell.
Yeah.
And they run that Senate campaign every 4 years.
Yeah.
And that's and one of the drivers that people had said at the door is that they think the city council's term should be longer. They think 2 years is too quick, and they're like, weren't you just here? Why is it so fast? And I think that's something that should always be looked at, because I think that if it went to a 3-year term, it would at least give, or maybe stagger them. But I think 3 years would be better for everybody, because it seems like you just get done and you're right back in campaign season, and it's hard to ask people for money to help. It's to campaign parties. That's my hardest part.
On the radio, I've always pushed for 3 years.
Yeah.
Because you're right, you just get elected, you're into September, October, now you're starting to think about running next year again. I think 3-year terms would be.
Yeah.
I agree. I always look at
No, we waited for excellence in city services until this year. Think of how many roads got paved this year. What happened to the homeless? They got herded off the South Common. Took years, took election year.
that's a good
so you
point
think
too.
more election years should
John.
be happen, John?
Fire
It
trucks,
kicks people in the butt and gets things done.
we had
every 2
wheels
years.
falling off the fire trucks last year, not this year. Election year.
So you think
Fair enough,
you think
but-
complacency happens?
Also, though, we're afraid to spend good money to save money down the line. I always look at it like you don't want to be the council that put us in the red in order to make money 10 years down the line, because you got a 2-year term.
We're going to stop
You know?
doing our motto, if you don't like it here, move. But that should not be our motto, but it is. This is a fabulous show for math facts of the city. Great discussion. That's from Ralph Hogan. He likes my sweater.
Oh, Robert.
Oh, wow.
I think if you're going to, the governor said it best when she first ran and said, I think the last, and someone will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but the last vocational school that was built new was 1975
Really?
or 77. It's right in there. I'm not talking about a replacement one that already existed, like Minuteman did a
Right,
new one, but just a new setting piece. And I think that's the challenge is, like Greater Lowell has a 700-person waiting list every year. When I was on the board, it was like 140, 150. And we increased the number because at that time we were taking 500 students a year for the 2,000 number, but we didn't hit the 2,000 number. We were like at 1,800, 1,900 because people drop off for whatever reason. So I had said to the superintendent at the time, why don't we take 550 and we'll always have 2,000. But when we took the 550, they never left. So then it went to 22, 23, so we're over 2,300 students out there. It's gone up over 400 students in the last,
And we need
8
more.
years. And we need more, but we have no more space. The building in the beginning had 600 people in it, and now it's got 2,300. It had split shifts of people. People went for the summertime to school. We had early and late shift, and they did all these things. But now you got a 700-person wait list, and there's property that could have been built on, but we don't. But it takes twice the amount of space because as you're building academia, you have to build the shop also up. So you got to move
And find
bricks
the
move
teachers.
and that's going to be the other problem.
That's a challenge.
One of the major watered down problems that this governor's doing and people are pushing for is to take trade schools and put them in academia. So what that does is water down the teacher pool because you're just still fighting for the same teacher. If you watch the trends of teachers being hired in the vocational setting, all they're doing is a person who works at Shawsheen applies to Greater Lowell. A person from Greater Lowell applies to Neshoba because they live closer or whatever the dynamics is. But we're sharing the same pool of applicants. It's not like you're getting a new pool of applicants in the trades because the money that's out there, if you're a good plumber, you're making more than a teacher.
Oh.
If you're a good electrician, you're making more than a teacher.
That's how I was surprised at the blowback on Facebook when I said, take the $4 billion and put it into vocational schools. They make a lot of money.
And the problem that's going to happen because of the lottery is that Michael hit it right on the head. If a kid's behavior in second grade is throwing things at people and doing things, why would any tradesperson want to come in and teach, say, metal fab? You got to take a torch and cut things, and this kid's whipping, hot items at somebody or spraying oil, or in carpentry, you got saws and stuff. You're going to put that in a bad situation very shortly, and I don't know that you're going to be able to keep the educators on the trade side.
And Marty, the
If
trades.
my kid wants to go to the Voc, now it's a coin flip between her and that kid.
Right. All her hard work doesn't matter.
It was funny, years ago when I worked at the post office, a lot of tradesmen worked and the firefighters. They would get the jobs, now you have the insurance, you make your money, and then on the side, they were all electricians, they were all plumbers, sheetrock, and, that, even at low trade, they learned these trades, that they had these great part-time jobs. And you saw that for years. I don't know if it's still the case.
Local 7's asking
It is.
us for people all the time.
Yeah.
And they're going to very high-paying, skilled jobs. And Marty and me sat next to me a couple of years ago at the UMass Lowell graduation, and I was laughing with him. I said, "Do you know how many kids got into the RN program at UMass Lowell from Greater Lowell?" And he said, "Why would I know that number?" I said, "Well, I wanted to tell you because I want to brag to you. 11 out of 100 came from Greater Lowell."
Yeah.
It's a tough program to get into.
And it's one of the hardest around to get into. Riviere, it gets swamped from Greater Lowell kids out of medical. And now you're going to say, okay, we're going to put a kid in here. Because what's going to happen eventually is they're going to have a lottery to get into each shop next.
Right.
And that's going to tell you, okay, this kid has no aptitude to learn medical, but they want to take it. And it's a lottery. Okay, you win, you come in. So what are you training? You're training nothing. You're going to sit in there, the teacher's going to spend 70% of the time with the person who doesn't even want to be in it, doesn't have an aptitude for it, and the other ones fail.
Was there any discussion from the governor for, say, night school, taking money and putting it into night school or secondary education for people who wanted the trades?
We have it.
Yeah.
So the Career Center sends them over. There's electrical at night, there's plumbing at night, there's metal fab, auto mechanics, so they come. There's an after dark program that's funded. Greater Lowell picks up a lot of the tab for the kids from Lowell that come here, and nobody understands that piece or knows that piece. But the kids that come from Lowell High and go there for the after dark program, Greater Lowell picks up a lot of that cost.
Good.
And Greater Lowell has been one of the community's greatest assets, who's never really asked for a lot. They've never gone over the minimum requirement. And one time in 50 years have they ever come to them for extra money. And I believe you were on the city council at the time, and it was for an expansion just because of the cafeteria piece.
Right.
We needed a bigger cafeteria to house the 2,300 students, so we built a 600 person cafeteria. They borrowed $65 million, and the project came in at 61 and gave back.
Did you get the
$4
money
million
from the
back.
city?
The city and the towns.
Yeah.
You have to get 3/4 vote to get the money. So we lobbied the cities and towns, and Bernie Lynch was there at the time, and that's how they got the money.
It was a good investment, actually.
Yeah, and if we didn't have it, you couldn't have the lunches, you can't have the people there, you can't do a lot of things. And right now, we're maxed in the lunch area at 600 because of the time frame and everything. So you can't really take a lot more kids unless you build out on a cafeteria piece. And when you build out on the cafeteria piece, you got to do the other pieces. So there's a lot of pieces that go together when people talk, oh, just take 100 more kids. Well, how do they get to lunches? How do you do the things
Right.
that you need to do?
Right.
It's a very challenging environment when you look at academia.
How does the money get divided up now, Eric, if they start putting the trades into the public schools?
Well, they're gonna
The public schools are going
Yeah.
for the money,
I
for the
don't,
additional money.
I don't know that. The claim is that they're doing it for the students who don't get in, but
That's not
they're
it.
putting in certain Chapter 74 programs that I don't know that the kids, even if they would have got in, would have taken those. I don't know that answer.
But there's
It
the
would
money.
water it down.
So what
yes,
happens to
yes.
your money?
It would shrink. Yeah, it would go down.
So it makes no sense. And also, you talk about the pushback. Well, the tradespeople are all working. They're not listening to your call.
And that's why
They're not on Facebook, Marty. They're about working.
If you want this link program to come in, and this, there's the link in the
the
city
Hamilton Canal
program,
District, and
you're
yeah.
gonna need enough electricians,
runner.
plumbers. Yeah, if you don't have it, these projects are gonna suffer. And if you have to go out of town, all that money's going out of town. You want local people in there working these projects.
I went to my doctor, and I grew up playing baseball with him, and he says this to me. He says, I had a plumber over the other day. It cost me $450. He was here for a half hour. He made more than I did. I said,
Yeah.
you should have went to plumbing school.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what he said. And, and it's true that, like Marty said, if you're going to invest in certain things, you have to invest in the education piece. And we had it. We had it right here. We were putting kids in all the local unions and everything. And Mrs. Dillon was one of my teachers as a kid, Michael's mother. And his uncle was instrumental in running that place and keeping it in line. And
Still is.
he does the truancy stuff. But when you look at the value they gave us and why trade school people don't get elected, it's a very simple thing. They don't run because they don't care about politics. They don't really. There's a different side of the brain that works in different
They don't
ways.
have time either.
They don't have time. And most times they don't want to get involved in a lot of things. And now when they see somebody, who does get involved, a lot of times I see a lot of my old friends come to political campaign parties, and they're like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "What are you doing here?" But it's a different setting, and when majority of people graduate from a traditional high school, and they said that's where the dumb kids went when I was a kid, and now you see there's a major shift, because the people who used to say it was a dumb place when I was a kid are now sending their kids there, and I get to say to them, wow, this place must have got really smart.
And I
The
saw
joke.
on Facebook,
Yeah.
they had the
All the,
Yeah.
low trade graduation picture from 1974.
Yeah.
I graduated from Lowell High in 74, and I looked, and those kids weren't dumb.
No.
Well, let me tell you,
I think they're still laughing
I knew
today.
a lot of them.
I think they're still laughing today.
They wanted to go into trades. They wanted to go into carpentry. They wanted to automotive, electrical.
I was bored with academia.
Yeah.
You go through 9 years of academia here at the daily school, I was bored. I was looking out the window because we're trying to get the kid 3 seats over to catch up with the rest of the class that I was already done. So I was looking out the window most of the time. Then they gave us a tour of a place where you could go put a car on a lift and look under it and, cut a ball joint out, or you could go into welding and start up something, or you could go cut somebody's hair. It was just different, and it was like, I gotta try this. At that age.
I think if we were trying to really project long-term, we need the amount of kids that we have in Lowell Public Schools in a trade school, and probably the amount of kids that are at the Voc in academics.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to, if we were setting it up right now and we had all the ability in the world to do what we wanted, the shift has already gone that way.
Right.
I mean, we would be much better off with 3,500 kids out at the Voc. And what we have 1,000 from Lowell get into the Voc?
1,800.
1,800?
Yeah, roughly
1,800 in the academic high school and 3,500 at the Voc. Really, those are that's who we need to be. That's how we need to be training people right now.
And the governor
not
thought
gonna
it important enough to campaign on it, but not to do anything about it.
Well, because people can see that.
Because she doesn't understand it, and that's the difference. Harvard-educated people probably don't understand vocational settings.
Well, they think it's below them.
Most people, if you look in our area, academic people. They came from academic. They did extremely well because of the academic. And just because you go to Greater Lowell and you're in plumbing doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a plumber. But you have that skill set for whatever you're going to do in life that can come back in that training piece that you can be helped on. So I think it's very interesting.
Comment from the audience: most people in city council already work in government for their day jobs. Very true. Government jobs are better than regular jobs in most cases.
I mean, that's a fact.
When you talk about the governor, she campaigns on these things when she's in the lobbying starts. And the people who lobby for regular public education versus regional schools, it's a big difference.
It's a big difference.
It's probably 80%.
Yeah, no question. And the people that you think are just there because they believe in your policies and everything quickly change the day you're elected, and they're calling you the next morning with something different. It's just like the mayor race. As you said, it could change, and it is. I don't know the answer, but at the end of the day, is that the focal point of the city? Is it the focal point of what you want to be remembered for, is helping people? If you listen to all of the people in your ear, I would say, and Marty, you probably know better than me, 80% of them are self-absorbed people who want a direction that they want. They're self-absorbed. There's something in their head they want, and the day you are not elected, they don't even know your name. They're not calling you. So if I was going to say something, anybody newly elected or anywhere, be you. Do what you think is right, and it'll always come out in your favor. And even if you go, you can still know that your family's the only one who's going to be left around you for the most part.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's a balance, keeping people happy. Let me tell you, it's a real challenge.
You got to live with what your decisions are, and you know what? At the end of the day,
Well, I never look back.
People say to me, "How come you're not?" And Marty can tell you very well, and so can Michael. There's two sides. How come you're not on either side? I go, I don't really care about either side. What's right for trying to make a community a better place?
Comment from the audience: this state has the worst policies. They never look at the big picture, except for some Republicans. No one has the guts to go against the speaker. I agree.
And I think you continually do the same thing. You hire the same people, you elect the same people, and I don't know. And I guess people run because they think that they have a projection where they can win, not on the message. It's not about a person winning. Many good people lose, but their policy and what they were trying to do gets implemented down the road.
You have a Senate race coming up, state Senate race.
Yeah.
We're going to hold on that for a second.
Who
Marty,
the
let's
leadership
review the results from last night. People are still not clear of what actually happened last night. So, Linda, you want to go over these, or you want Marty to do what's good?
Go ahead, John.
Okay, so City Council at Large. Vesna Noon came in number 1. Erik Gitschier came in number 2. And Rita Mercer came in number 3. Jose De Jesus, I call it De Jesus. I know that's not how we pronounce it.
De Jesus.
Okay, thank you, Marty.
6 though.
And Mr. Kaufman finished out of the running. And then moving on to the Lowell School Committee at large, Danielle McFadden topped the ticket. Connie Martin, she won. Out of the race is Bobby Hoey and Zoda Zinku. Real wicked close was District 3 Belvedere, where Duran, she got 11:45 and Finn got 11:39, very close. Finn went to Duran's party last night and congratulated her, so I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. Then downtown District 4, Wayne Janess won out over incumbent, I'm sorry, Sean McDonough won out over Wayne Janess, so congratulations, Sean. And then looking at District 5, South Lowell, Tim Scott won over Barboza. And then District 7, Cadillac of a guy, Paul Rathayem lost. And Sidney Lang, he got the win over there. And lastly, John Dakota came on strong, and he won in the Highlands last night over Candido. And that's the
With all
race.
the stuff
Leave
going
it up there
on-
for a minute. You want to take a picture with your phone, go ahead. Thanks to Inside Lowell for this data.
With everything going on in the city, all the positives, 3 district councilors were beat. Kind of, you wonder, you just sit there and look at it. We talk about the front runner, the Links program, so much going on downtown, and 3 district councils, well, two I predict it would be switched, but that District 8, I just can't get over that one. I mean, he's a nice guy, Marcos, but John's been involved in the city so long, just so many charities, great guy, big family.
What have you done for me today?
Well, that happens.
Also the perception he's a rubber stamp for the manager.
So is the manager looking at this today? Is he part of this?
Yeah, well, I mean, how is it that the manager let a $50 million over budget on the high school happen? How did that happen, Mr. Manager?
I know when it first started, people weren't showing up. Remember, they had the high school, they had all these people get on, and why is it overrun? And they found out, really, no one was going to the meetings. Now you go to the regional school, when they were doing the reconstruction and the rebuilding, all those, not only there, they were taking part, they're all in construction. You know, I mean, that's,
Is anyone
be
running
honest.
against Elliott for state senate? Vanna Howard is considering it. No one's pulled papers yet?
Oh, both papers are pulled.
Yeah.
So Rodney Elliott and Vanna Howard have pulled papers.
I didn't think they had papers to pull.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
They got to get 400 signatures, so they're all walking around right now trying to get the 400 signatures.
Okay.
and then once they're elected, they gotta pull papers in April. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Wow. What's the date of the special election?
March.
4th, I think?
Yeah, I believe.
Well, is anybody running as a Republican? So there's just gonna be a primary?
Well, then, no, there's a primary, then you have to have
I-
the general election.
But if not,
Whoever wins the primary right now.
that's
I'd say
interesting.
based on the voter
Unfortunately.
count, what justifies, if 500 people are going to vote, why should we spend 60 grand on an election? What does an election cost, 6 grand? I have no idea what an election costs, but why should we spend all this money for 500 people to vote?
It was brought up to me yesterday, someone said, you worked on the Clinton campaign in '08, and I said, yeah, that's January, February. How's the turnout? I said, well, they love it up there, they're first in the nation. You get a primary on March 4th, and it snows.
Yeah,
It's gonna be incredible.
that's why we moved all the town elections to this.
That's
to
why
the
you want to
spring.
know all the tradespeople. They'll get
Yeah.
there with their plows.
Yeah. You could have a snowstorm that day, or it's gonna be miserable weather. It's dark at 4 o'clock. We're up there campaigning, it's dark at 4,
Well, you
and-
must
Walking the
remember
hills of Bedford.
the Timmy Rook one. That was
Oh, yeah.
January.
Yeah,
That was a January special.
Oh.
And,
And that
I
was
think
a
that was the
tough
last one.
yeah, Steve Panagiatakis ran against Susan Rock.
But that wasn't a special. Timmy Rook was a special that
Well,
one.
that's right.
I think that was the last one that was ever done.
Yeah.
in the city. You know, you have to have a death of somebody within holding a seat, a state seat, and I think it was just Senator Kennedy and Representative Rourke.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because Kevin was in for 20-some-odd years, and Tommy. And
that was the first campaign
Dave.
that I ever worked with my parents. I was just
Really?
a little kid, and we were running around, and I remember it was freezing out, and we were doing campaign stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to watch the city and how it runs through people, and you know, Marty and I have been alike for many, many years. I know his family very well. They've been unbelievable to me. Michael, the same thing. You know, his mother taught us at Greater Lowell, one of my wife's favorite people in the world, and his uncle Timmy is. So that's where you get the connection. But I can surely tell you that they hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Mrs. Dillon will call me every day about sidewalks or the
I
vocational
know, that's
thing.
why I started on, as soon
Yeah.
as Michael came in.
And-
You know what
and
Lowell's
they
lost,
care.
and you talk about these connections. Years ago, if you're on the council, you're running, you went up to see Freddie Bahu.
Yeah.
And everyone went through that store. You could get an idea what was Nitin Patel up on Route 38, what's going on in Belvedere. Now Nitin, he sold it, I don't know what it's like now, but Nitin could tell you what was going on. Fruin's over on Bridge Street. There were locations
Frank and
around the
Ernie's.
city, Frank and Ernie's, yeah, where you could go, and Cunningham's was up in Sacred Heart. And you could go to these places and get a good idea of the feel for the
Chucks,
neighborhood.
of the Chucks.
Multiple comments from the audience. Last special election was won by 15 votes.
Wow.
Republican in early 2025. And then for the state
That's
Senate seat, Eddie Kennedy, the late great Eddie Kennedy seat, February 3rd is the primary. March 3rd is the election.
Yeah.
You need 300 certified
I
signatures.
thought it was 4.
And the last one came on blurry. I don't know what this says, but it's something from the special state election. So I can't read it. It came out
It's
blurry.
gonna, the
Sorry.
towns are gonna could make a difference there.
If they split the low vote, someone from the towns jumps in, they could very well win that seat. Yeah.
And if they don't, I mean, Rodney would be the stronger one of the towns right now.
Right. I'd say in Drake it and Tingsboro, he's going to be tough. They voted Trump, so I can't see, Rodney would probably,
I would be
Be the
very
best.
careful of one of those Greater Lowell school committee members running.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's their district.
If you jumped on a Matt Sheehan could pull it off.
they're running all the towns now.
He came from Lowell. Bill was his father. He is powerful in Drake it. He jumped in, you could be in a mess. Or, you got Kelly Richardson out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Kelly ran and you could pull in the Dunstable and you could get that way, and the family's very powerful in Drake it could run right through. So
That's
I
like a
think-
training ground for running for Senate.
exactly.
Yeah,
That
it
district.
is.
It's the whole
Right.
district.
Yeah.
And if you get out of
Right.
Greater
Oh, is
Lowell,
Lee, how about Lee?
Lee could. I don't know. Lee did really well last
Yeah,
time. So
I know.
mean,
They're telling
Yeah.
me I was crazy when I brought that up, Lowell splitting the vote and someone coming in. I didn't even think of Matt Sheehan.
Matt Sheehan would be huge.
Yeah, he would be huge. He really would.
He could take that district.
Kelly Richardson's another one. Kelly would be.
Oh, Kelly would, absolutely.
Kelly could really put a dent in this whole thing.
Because
Yeah.
he wouldn't split Lowell. There's the difference
Eric,
right
the
there.
audience wants you to run for the job.
Who does?
The audience does. Some people in the audience want you to run for the job.
Jerry Nutter brought you up.
That's, I think, what cost me this election. When people bring out you're going to run for another seat and you're in the middle of a campaign,
Yeah.
it's never a very good thing.
Well, I think it was a great move that you came out and made that clear.
I don't know that it
But-
was clear enough because the little son never prints anything
Well,
that I.
that-
Well,
what you say.
They don't like me.
I find that shocking.
They don't like me.
the time frame was short, so I don't think anybody could really make themselves clear.
Yeah.
But I was questioning that, and
I think
I
it
wanted
hurt
you to
me.
get in. You think it hurt you because
Yeah.
you made that statement?
No, I think it
Or
hurt me
because
because Jerry made
No,
that.
Because your name was
My
out there,
phone
yeah.
was getting blitzed, and I'm like, Jerry, I'm gonna kill you.
When I saw you
Why
put
would
it
you
out
do that?
online, though, I was like fist pumping
Yeah.
for you because I think that's for this election that was important.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it
you
hurt
think
me.
it didn't get out there enough.
I think it hurt me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I had a lot of people mention your name.
Well, because listen, you got an Elliott group and you got a Vanna group, and then you throw me in. Now you think anyone from those groups are going to vote for me? Because they want to keep my vote down because then it doesn't give you any popularity to even think about anything like that. So I think that hurt. I think that was a driver in this. But I mean, congratulations to everybody. It's all
Putting your name on the ballot, whether you win or lose, I give everyone a lot of credit and thank you for putting your name forward. And because it's tough. It's tough to be criticized. It's tough to be attacked. And that's what you face.
It's tough on your family members more than you.
Yeah, the family takes it. You
Yes,
get
it
someone
They
like
take it.
Mr. Womp, the
To
three of
heart.
us. You sit there and take it, and you're really okay.
I'm okay with it.
I'm good with it. You
Yeah.
keep running. Other people, I'd never run.
You come home and your wife's upset, or your child's upset, and they're like, "Why don't you say anything?" And I'm like, "I don't really care about that person, so it doesn't really." They have an opinion. It is what it is, and let's just move on.
When
But-
the headline in the Sun is Gitschier does this, that's your whole family's name.
exactly.
Yeah.
When it's
Yeah.
Dillon did this,
Yeah,
My father,
particularly when it's negative.
my father said this to
and it's
us.
always in the whole
They
sense
don't- It's
negative.
not Mike Dillon, politician.
My father said this to me when I was a kid, and they put the name Gitschier on the back of your baseball uniform. He said, "You better behave. That's your name. You remember that. That's all of us."
Yeah.
I'm like, "That. I won't hit the next kid up at that again."
Go back to the city workers. When I used to train mailmen, you've got the uniform on the truck. People see you. They see the post office. They see every mailman in the city, and that's what you represent. So when John was talking about getting the finger, which he probably deserved, but still,
That's what I was thinking.
I have loved this city my entire life. I have everything because of this city and people like all of you and the viewers and the voters. And it's just nice to be able to be recognized. Your hard work, you get to represent the city. And I think that that's the key to it all.
You've taken over a seat, though, like Dick Howe. Dick Howe used to question. And people, Dick Howe's... No,
Yeah.
Dick's just questioning. Dick has
And he always
He
was
always
right up
had
in
a
the top,
question.
but he was always in the top
Right, he
vote.
was always
I
in
love
there.
the way he carried himself.
Yeah.
He always had his jacket over and his hat in his hand. He never wore his hat inside. He always walked in, and he was just someone to watch. And I was like,
So
wow.
just gonna go through those real quick. Another great show today. Republicans cannot raise enough money to get the support. The Republicans don't have a machine. That's the Republicans' problem. Kelly is not running. Will be very low turnout. It's all about getting your votes out. And then tomorrow at City Life, we got Evelyn Thorin, Sam Chase, and
I
maybe
didn't mean
Bobby
it that
Holt
Kelly
will pop
was
by.
running.
We'll see what happens.
No,
I didn't mean it by, I just want to
No,
clarify that. I didn't mean
really
anybody was running. I just said it was.
we were just talking about the town.
He would
So
be
I'm
big.
sorry, Kelly,
Yeah.
if that comes back to you that I said that, because I didn't.
He would be big.
Say
Yeah.
goodbye, kids.
Thank you for
Thank you.
watching. Thank you all for getting up early. I appreciate it.
Marty,
And congratulations to all the winners.
Congratulations.
Have a good day.
And thank you. I always go this way.